to our meeting today. At this time, let the record show that all the commissioners are present, with the exception of Commissioner Baker, who is not here today. At this time, I need to speak, Chantel, will you look there and see if there's anybody who wants to sign up for citizen comments? We do have a couple of folks that are wanting to speak today, and so this is one of the areas that I always like to hear, personally like to hear from citizens, but we almost will become rude, if you will, because we can't respond back to it because it's not on the agenda. So we'll listen to the comments, we'll take them to heart, but at the same token, we won't be able to converse back and forth, and that's just for open meetings laws that we have, okay? So I'm going to ask that you keep your time to around the 3-minute range. We don't have a ton of people, so I'm not going to hold you right to that. Around 3 minutes, and then once again, make sure that you understand that although we would love to say, wait a minute, Mr. Anderson, that's not, we can't do it. We'll sit here and listen. So at this time, I would like to invite Jana Raymond to be the first speaker today.
May I just stand here?
Sure.
Our nation passed Sunday night billions and billions of dollars in spending, and I'm sure you're aware of that. And today we find ourselves in Limestone County thinking about a budget and spending other people's money. Our nation didn't think too long. It seems easy to spend other people's money. But I'm here with people who call themselves conservative. And if we look in the archives of each one of your elections, I bet we could find pictures of you or your family. I bet we could find the word conservative that you ran on. Historically, conservative means taking care of your citizens and doing the best thing that you can do with their money. When you make your decisions today, please be reminded that the money you spend in those budget line items belongs to Paul Hurst in Prairie Grove. It belongs to the Hancocks that are in Shallow. It belongs to the Hendersons in Forest Glade. It belongs to the Guzmans in Mahia. It belongs to the families in Waukena. It belongs to the Pollards in Coolidge, to Mr. Busby, to the Hullums that are laid in Mahia. It belongs to Tom Lockwood out on 147. It belongs to Mr. Funderburk in Thornton. It belongs to the Eccles in Costa. We're asking you, in the spirit of conservatism, of which you all ran on, to please be mindful when you spend our taxpayers' money. That if you can get by with a Ford F-150 in this year of abundance, which you have an abundance in federal money, which honestly in most of our minds tethers us to the U.S. government. Be mindful that if we can get by on an F-150, we don't have to have a Cadillac. Because you see, I had a meeting in Thornton last night, and when I came down 14, there was a family with huge water haulers in the back of their truck and some scrap feed. And the dust was blowing. And they were out there trying to keep their animals alive. Probably with every penny and dime that they had. So we ask you in this year, please prove to us what a conservative is. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Douglas Lord.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Give me a second here. Thank you, sir. This reminds me of the time I was speaking to the Texas General Land Office about my bulkhead at Houston. felt like a little fish in a big ocean with a bunch of sharks. So I hope you are not a bunch of sharks. But what I'm going to talk about, it would take me a whole lot longer than 3 minutes without hitting the hotspots. I live out on 700, LCR 700. And to get to my house, I have to go down 704. If any of you have ever been down either one of those roads, you might have blown out a tire or run across a ditch or something, because the roads are absolutely ridiculous. When you're coming in the morning and the sun's in the east, the shadows of the road have all the holes on the right side. When you're coming in the evening, the sun's in the west, the shadows move over and they hide the other holes. You've been out patching them, and you patch the holes, then you patch the patch on the holes. And they need some creative major repairs. Thank you very much.
Thanks. No one else? We'll continue on with our meeting. Thank you all very much for voicing those comments. The next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, and I trust that the commission has had a chance to go over these. We'll open it up for any discussion. If not, we'll entertain a motion. So we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Well, now we're going to our regular agenda, and we'll go through a couple of them, and we'll move it along so we can get some things moved up a little bit earlier. First thing I have is our monthly reports. I'm going to ask, is there any officials here that want to give a report? Brian, do you have anything for me at all? Okay, Mr. Ellis, I don't see him here. I think he's putting his report in there. Sheriff, do you have a report?
Briefly.
Okay.
This morning, Joe, we're 128 with 16 Freestone, 3 Bell, 3 Leon. For the month of July, our transportations were down a little bit. We had 59 man hours in transportation, a little over 1,100 miles, cost of approximately $3,800. We collected a little less than $2,000 in fees for the month.
Any other discussion, any other report from any elected official or department head that wants to give a report? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve as presented. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, let's go ahead then and receive a safety report from Commissioner Friday.
Spoke with Jerry yesterday, we have no incidents to report, so I'm making a motion to incidents.
Okay, we do have a motion. And a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Let me ask the crowd, can y'all hear us okay?
No.
Okay. Lee, he said he connected the speakers up that were not even on. Can you see if there's any adjustment for that? Anyway, last meeting we had, you couldn't hear very well, and so I wanted to make sure that we were getting good audio out there. I'll ask commissioners then. I realize this is something that's often hard to understand, is that this is a meeting of the Commissioners Court. It's an open meeting, but it's not an open forum, yet we think as citizens, you ought to be able to hear what we're saying. So if you are having trouble, please raise your hand and say, we can't hear you back here in the back, and we'll try to speak up. So I'll ask y'all to please speak up just a little bit. I don't have any problem speaking up. I'm loud. Let's go ahead and move to item number 9. That's going to be the county burn ban. I don't think we need to take any action on this today. It is so dry. And we hope that Bobby's prayers are answered when we get a little rain. We'll pass that item today and we'll leave that burn ban on for now. And hopefully we can discuss it later. Let's go ahead then and make a presentation, and that's going to be a presentation of Limestone County Historical Commission 2021 Distinguished Service Award. So at this time, I want to ask the Limestone County Historical Commission to come up. If y'all move around. I tell you what, why don't y'all come up behind me here? So I think Stephen likes to get his picture taken. And so we'll do it this way. Go ahead. But Anyway, we want to thank the Historical Commission for all they do. As y'all know, there's a lot of things that the Historical Commission actually do that a lot of us don't even know about. I didn't know about. The fact that this one guy, this ex-Marine right here, he'll tell you about any cemetery in Limestone County.
There are no ex-Marines.
All
You
right.
ought to know that, Rich.
Well, I don't say ex-Marine, but I'll change it for me. Okay.
There's only Marines, there's no ex-Marines.
Okay. Only Marines. All right. The Texas Historical Commission presents this 2021 Distinguished Service Award to the Limestone County Historical Commission in recognition of its active and well-balanced preservation program, and it is signed by the Executive Director. And so with that, I want to say thank you on behalf of Limestone County to the Historical Commission for all you do. And thank y'all very much. I enjoyed coming to y'all's meetings when I got a chance. And thank you for all. Thank y'all. Thank you. Bubba thinks he outranks me, so I. All right, let's continue to go here. The next item is we're going to, this is a request of Mr. Michael Blair. This is discuss and take action on the sand bid of Michael Blair. Mr. Blair, I know you came in visually, you want to be on the agenda, so.
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours, sir. Can I please share with you?
All right, be over here, Jeff.
It'll be fine, where you like.
Well, thank you for speaking with me today regarding our bid for the sand for Limestone County. My name is Mike Blair. I'm the owner of Solar Sands. I live in Cossie with my wife and daughter, Misty and Judy. Saw in the Groesbeck Journal that we, Solar Sands, were the only submittal for sand, and that our bid was not accepted, which the court found to be insufficient. I have to say I was quite surprised. We respectfully request that our bid be reconsidered. Our understanding is that the sand currently being used is an unprocessed sand that is dug out of the ground. The sand specifications in the bid packet is quite coarse, with 20 to 40% coarser than a 16 mesh, which is a 16th inch in diameter. We do not know of a natural unprocessed, dug straight out of the ground sand in Limestone County that is that coarse. I know this because I sent our agronomist around the area looking for a more coarse sand. In order to match the gradations given in the packet, the sand would have to be processed to meet the exact specifications that the county requested. I visited Robertson County. I spoke with Mr. Taylor about the gradations they were using on their sand oil mixture, and they gave me the opportunity to go to the field where they were blending, and took a sample and did some internal testing. Our gradations matched pretty much identical to their gradations. We would like the opportunity to visit the location where you guys are getting your sand and take a sample of that so that we can run an internal analysis as well. We have several graded processed sand options. Jerry came out for a site visit. I asked him if he'd like to take a sample. He said he didn't need to. And we believe that the sand that was requested was a natural source, and the county was going to set up a pug mill for blending. I offered up any sand on the property as well as the field behind the pit. The only pile stated that the county could not use was our A pile, which is 18,000 tons, and that's been certified as USGA Golf sand by Thomas Turpin and Brian. We have several different gradations of sand that are utilized in masonry, construction, glass, paint, and as well as the frac industry. As a resident of Limestone County and a disabled veteran, we want to be a good neighbor and a reliable source of sand for surrounding communities, especially in our county of Limestone. So I really appreciate you guys' consideration, and you guys call me if you got any questions. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the citizens that came to support me from Cossie.
Thank you. Hang on a second. Let me ask you a
Yes.
question. Jerry, I think it was your recommendation when we were going through the bids that this was not very good sand. Can you tell us what exactly happened that made you come to that conclusion?
It's got a lot of clay. Anytime you mix oil with clay, all you do is hangs on it and turns it into potholes.
So how did you come to the determination that it had a lot of clay? Did we go get some of it and test it or something?
I didn't test it, I looked at it. I dug my hand into it, I could see it all over it.
When did you do your hand into it?
When you was standing right there beside me.
You never got out of the truck.
Yes, I did.
No, sure.
Your
We
daughter
can-
was with us, you drove up to the pile, you said, this pile here is not, this pile over here is what we could use for golf sand. This is the pile you want.
This,
I got in the
yeah,
truck
so
and
that was the pile that was already pulled out of the ground. But the back pile behind the pit it's not been touched.
I went to the pile you showed me.
Yeah, and I said I didn't know exactly what you guys needed. And yes, that has a lot of clay in it. That's already there. I offered it up. If you're gonna bring a poke mill or anything in, you can rotate it around and get the sand or the clay out that you don't need. You know, we have other gradations, and you guys, on your bid, you guys had a completely coarse material that would have to be processed out in order to get that gradation. And we have a lot of those gradations.
I went to the pile, you told me this is the pile.
Well, then there was a misunderstanding because that's just the pit that has been drawn out and unprocessed of the pit. But I remember I offered you that whole back field, and I said, this is where Mr. Lord is on this side, we're on this side, it's not even been touched.
Well, it must be a misunderstanding. You drove me around it and you said this here is saying this, when we got to that pile, it said, this is the pile I'm off.
No, I said you can have anything out there except for pile A.
Let me
I
ask
hate
you,
to disagree with you.
let me ask you a question then. It would be, I'm trying to think, you're the only one that placed a bid.
Yes, sir.
Would this be something that, Gary, you go back out there and maybe find out if there is an area that you were,
I have no problem with that.
and so we could try to see if we could solve the problem rather than create it?
Sure. I mean, I'm offering up the whole entire sand plant minus A pile. I was under the impression that you wouldn't even have to pull it out of the ground. It would just be something that you got to turn over. That's why I offered it up that, it's 480,000 tons of unprocessed sand.
Okay.
I thought it would be easier for the county, less work for the county. But I did offer up the entire sand plant minus A pile. And I know we had that discussion because I said that's the USDA certified golf sand. I get $23 a ton for it. So, I'm not trying to charge the county $23 a ton for sand. I mean, I come in pretty cheap.
Could we get like a sample of it or?
I have a sample. I also have gradations here of what you guys need that I showed to the judge that match Robertson County almost to an identical match for what they're using to pull out. And that was the back 40, what we call the back 40, which is by Mr. Lord's place. And I'm just trying to be a good steward, a good person to the community, and offer up a cheap solution. We're on the south side of the county. I don't understand why you guys can't have two sources to save the county money. And a source here if you're on the north side, or the east side, or the west side, or whatever, and it's cheaper on everybody. But I'll try to come in really cheap for the county because I'm trying to save everybody some money. And our roads
do that with rock pits.
Our roads are junk out there. I mean, when I'm butchering chickens, because we own a chicken farm too, when I butcher chickens and them trucks come up and down them roads and it's horrible for dust and everything else. I would love to essentially give you guys the sand, within reason, to fix the county roads because they're awful. They're awful for everybody.
Judge, didn't we say we wanted to rebid it?
But let me say this to you. We have not rebid it yet. We're waiting on some information on gas volume. The whole bid process of doing this every year is to try to make sure that we get the best price we can possibly get for the services that we're going to provide. Nothing says that we have to. For instance, a great example is, let's say he's selling it for $10 a ton, and we find it for $2 a ton. We don't have to buy from him just because he won the bid. We can buy from that other person So to say, just like what he said was, is if he's got sand down there, he'll sell us at a good price. We think it's a good price.
Yes, sir.
But yet, it wouldn't make sense not to buy it from someone out of Coolidge when we're doing work up there. We still have that right to do that, even though he won the bid. And that's what I want to make sure y'all understand today, is that the bid itself does not mean you have to buy it. Tasha, you agree with that, don't you?
The bid process is what if you just for spending over $50,000 for one vendor, then that's where the purchasing law said that we have to go.
And not only that, though, we want to do what's best for the citizens of Limestone County.
Sure.
And so, like I said, if you came in with a great bid right now of $10, and next thing you know, sand goes to $1, we are not going to buy from you, unfortunately, even though you bid a good price, we're going to be buying for $1.
Oh, and that's the risk that you take when you submit the bid package.
Exactly.
So I put the bid packet together, what I thought was a fair price. It wasn't $10, it was about under $10. I'm sure you all know.
I was just, but in the different side, the other side of that is,
Right.
if sand goes to $100, you told us you're going to give us at least this much.
Exactly. Then I eat it.
That's right.
So I understand that. That's just part of it. The thing is that as a citizen of Limestone County, I'm trying to help the county out. I do whatever I can to help Cossie out. The fire department needs sand, come get it. That's all you got to do, come get it. I mean, it's essentially the same thing trying to help the county out.
One of the things that we've often done, and y'all saw this at our last meeting, meeting before last, is that we will accept more than one bid. If someone makes a couple of bids, we'll take both of them, as we did in our janitorial supplies.
Sure.
So it's not uncommon that we would take more than a bid, it's just that we didn't get anybody else bid. So the question I want to ask the commissioners right now, do y'all want to go back out for bid once again, let Jerry go back out and take a look to make sure that it's sand that he can live with? Or do you want to just let Jerry go do that and award the bid to him, knowing that if John Smith out of Coolidge has sand, it might be in our best interest to buy from there. What's your thoughts on that?
They should get together and y'all should bring a sample out to him and show.
Here's the
feel
gradations.
comfortable with it.
If Jerry wants the gradations, I have of what we could actually mix. If you guys wanted to stick with what your initial gradations were, it would have to be mixed rather than pulling it straight out of the sand. I mean, I'm willing to talk. That's a if you need that course of fraction. I mean, and besides me getting a sample of what you guys are already using, I don't have any other way, because I mean, I don't know where you're getting it from, but based off of what the bid packet is and the specifications for the gradations, and what we have sitting on the ground for some of the gradations, and what we have in the back 40. Back 40 matches Fremont, I mean, within 2 or 3, sieve sizes. But other than that, it's an exact match, because it's as the crow flies, it's maybe 5 miles as the crow flies from what used to be Superior Silica Sand Plant, which I purchased in January. So if Jerry would like these gradations, I'm more than happy to give it to you.
Anything else, Mr. Blair?
No, sir, I mean, I appreciate your time, and like I said, I want to do what's best for the county. That's why we're here, to support the county, and it's nice that the citizens support what we're trying to do as well. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to recommend to the commission that Jerry go out and look at the sand. And we'll put this on the very next agenda to decide or y'all can decide today. If you want to go out for another bid, then we'll get another bid. But frankly speaking, we did everything we were supposed to. This is the only bid we got. I personally have a little trouble going back out to bid on something that might just been a miscommunication between Jerry and Mr. Blair.
Well, and then if you still don't find the sand that we need, then we could go out for bids.
Right. That sounds good.
Let's just do that. All right, leave it open.
We'll leave this open, no action taken today then, other than asking Mr. Herring to go out there and take a closer look at that sand that they have to offer in the fields. Okay, next item on the agenda, and I do not see him here, but that's to accept the record, the notice was presented by Kenneth Ellis. I think y'all, he's got a copy of his retirement notification, so October the first, Kenneth Ellis is going to be retiring from Limestone County show barn. And so, one of the things we'll be talking about pretty soon is what we're going to do as far as replacing that position. This, I don't think there's any action, that was for information only, except for record. Next item is an item that was asked to be put on the agenda by Commissioner Baker, who's not here. I would hate to speak for him on this, so I'm going to pass that item right there. And we'll go to item number 14. Let's see, is there anybody else here? I don't think so. So let's go ahead then and accept the record of 2022 appraised values. Stacy, do you want to present anything to the board? I know you've given us the figures, the values.
I received values from the appraisal district at the end of July. What we really focus on is the total taxable value to calculate the tax rates with. So in comparison to 2021, taxable value was $2,012,187,744,000. 2022, we had an increase to $2,200,298,193 for a total increase of $188,110,449.
And so what I like to do, Stacy, is put that in terms that I can understand. So basically, we're the taxpayers of Limestone County, when they got their notice from the appraisal district, I'm sorry. Anyway, the bottom line is when they, whenever they got their, when they got their notices, their values went up.
In a lot of cases.
In a lot of cases, very seldom do they go down, that I've heard, but nonetheless. So what you're telling me is of all the properties that we have in Limestone County, we actually got $188 million new dollars of valuation.
Added value, yes.
Added value.
Yes.
And so what we then have to do is we'll get something, and you'll go over it in a second, I think, but we'll have to decide what our effective tax rate, because what they make us do is take that amount of dollars that it generate, and we have to reduce it down to make sure that we're not getting any more new dollars, or basically no new dollars, and that's what they call it now, no new revenue. Used to be effective tax rate. And so, whereas we work hard to reduce expenses, try to be conservative, like Janet said earlier, we try to do those things. But frankly, if the valuations keep going up and we're going down, you're paying probably close to the same, if not just a little bit more in a lot of cases. So it's a tough battle to fight. Go ahead and continue on. We're going to have to approve this here in a minute, but it looks like 188,000. That would generate how much new actual revenue to Limestone County this next year?
Well, at the no new revenue rate of $0, at the voter adjusted rate about $686,000, a little over.
I move we accept the record of 2022 appraised values.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That will pass. And so let's keep going on the presentation of the 2023 tax rate calculation. Stacy, go ahead and give us that skinny on that.
I did take those taxable values and calculate the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. As the judge stated, the no new revenue rate is the rate that calculates that would not produce any additional income over last year's using the same properties. The no new revenue rate had calculated as follows. The general fund rate at 0.6378, farm to market at 0.0213, and the road and bridge fund at 0.0227 for a total of 0.6818.
Okay.
The voter approval rate calculated as general fund of 0.6670, farm to market 0.0223, road and bridge 0.0237, for a total combined rate of 0.7130.
And currently we're at you're
Currently,
getting
we're
a lot of
at,
figures here, but basically about 74 cents.
7478 is what we're currently at.
So if we approve the voter approval rate, and that's the amount that we can go up to without, that would be almost a 3 cent, 3.5 cent decrease.
In the current rate, yes, that's correct.
But for now, we just need to accept these figures.
Yeah, that's what, but I want to make sure that I had an understanding of what these figures are. I think I do, but I want to make sure that everybody has an understanding of what we're talking. And then what we will do then, gentlemen, is we'll take and see where we're going to put our rate after this is approved. These are figures that don't change, by the way. These are actual figures that have been dictated to us by the state of Texas.
Motion that we start the presentation on the 2022 tax rate calculation.
Second.
You have a motion and a second, and you have a discussion on this item. If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Let's discuss and take possible action on utility line agreement on LCR 382. I'm assuming that this has been brought up to Jerry and to the commissioner. What's your pleasure on doing this?
So they're trying to get over the road to get water.
Yeah, the 400.
They're gonna take the road up. There's 400. So which tank are they going to? Where they gonna get water from?
Big Creek, take it off
Good with that? Typical road.
You know how I feel about the rock plants anyways. They're on my side. As long as they're not gonna take the road up, if they do any damage, they understand that they've got to fix it right.
Has to be bored, has to be in case.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to board the road to access water on the other side.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Item number 17 is to discuss and take action on purchasing 4 cab tractors with shredders and use that out of the American Rescue Funds. Just for your information, and I was going to let that be known, I finally got word today that we got the additional $2 million it'll be in our account today from the American Rescue Funds. I will always say, especially to people here today, that's a tough pill to swallow, is to take this money, because we know what's happening with this money. But however, that being said, if we don't take it, someone else should take it. So we're going to try to see what we can do to buy things such as tractors without using tax dollars that would get you to have to pay for it. And these are long-term investments. And so that's one of the reasons that we look at something like this right here, is that we can, number one, shred and keep the roads mowed all year round. And, we don't get started until about March every year, whenever we get called up by the end of the year. So right now, Bobby, I don't, did you bring this up, Bobby? Or?
I did. We don't have the third bid. I don't know if we can okay the process in advance of the third bid.
Well, you,
Since it's off, the one's off the buy board.
Yeah.
I think the boat is off the buy board. Is John Deere on the buy board?
both of them. So
If you go with the buy board, then you're okay with this amount.
But if it's off by board, it's 3, right? Do we want to wait on the case?
I don't.
And
you're saying if it's off the buy board, it's 3?
No,
If it's a buy board,
Right off
it's
by
off.
board, you only need 1.
We only need 1.
Wow.
Oh, I thought you were saying if it's off the buy board, we had to have 3.
And I'm-
Close.
I'm gonna make a motion that we purchase the 4 tractors and shredders, cab tractors and shredders from the American Rescue Fund, and that we accept the purchase of the John Deere's.
That was a motion?
Yes.
Okay, we do have a motion. I need a second, and we're gonna have a little bit of discussion on this.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Now, the discussion that I want to make sure that we understand is, Natasha, you keep me legal in this as far as, are you saying that the American Rescue, this money that we have right now, that we haven't got it in, is in this current year's budget? Or does it matter when we receive these tractors? If they got 4 of them sitting there, you go buy them, we're good.
Correct, if they have them, if we can take possession of them before September 30th, it'll come out of this year's budget. If we do not take possession of them until after October 1, then it has to be posted out of next year's budget.
Well, it's coming out of American Rescue money anyway, which is not in our budget.
That's what I thought.
Well, no, some of that is, the first draw is in our budget right now because that's where we've been using, whenever we've been paying the water facilities and such.
Well, but what happened was we put it in our budget as unanticipated revenue this past year. We didn't budget it. The taxpayers didn't come out and say, this is money budgeted.
Correct.
Okay, we just did that as that's what you.
It's because of the asset part of it, it's whenever, and that's how our outside auditors are gonna classify. It's determined on when you actually take possession, as to what year you have to apply it to.
And it's as simple as an agenda item. It's down to it. It's nothing in the world.
Oh, I just need to get them all, they won't be here till after October.
It won't.
So what, I mean, so what can be done right now is
Next spring.
go ahead and, I mean, you can go ahead, if this is gonna commit it to this amount and everything, we can issue a purchase order, but then come October 1, what we'll do is we will void this purchase order because it'll no longer be good in next year, and then create a new one to hold the money for whenever the items do get there.
Okay.
So we'll still be able to come out of
And we can still use the
American Rescue.
American Rescue,
Okay.
as long as that's what's your,
That's what I'm saying, yes.
As far as, once we get these in, will we be selling 4 of our tractors, current
We'll
tractors?
sell at least 3, we want to keep a few just for problems we got right now.
Yeah, we were hooked up to our new sprayer, ready to spray the roads, and we had to cut that tractor loose because we had another tractor break down. So
We need to keep a few spares just for.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Let's move to item number 18, is discuss consideration on the 2020 sheriff and constable fees. I'm assuming that these are the fees, and y'all have it in your package, I believe. Murray, do you want to address this in at all?
No, sir, I believe y'all went up on the fees last year a little bit. I don't know, Constable Forster may know. I know we're lower than some places on the fees and service. But I didn't do a comparison on where we are this year.
But these are all the same fees we had last year.
Well, I will say that we definitely need recommendations from you and from the core constables on what they're recommending. These are the same. I'll leave it to the commission to pleasure.
Do y'all feel like that these fees are adequate or do we need to increase?
I believe so. I think last year we went up considerably on some of them, because they hadn't been increased in years. You know, maybe something we stick with this year, and then next year look at what they're doing, and compare with some of the other places.
I move that we approve the 2023 sheriff and constable fees.
Second.
Motion and a second, any other discussion, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? And by the way, let me apologize to Commissioner Square, I know you've already met her. Chantel Carrizales took Ashley's place, and I want to welcome her to the commissioner's board. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and go on item number 19, and discuss take possible action on business service order to provide broadband. If I understand correctly, this is for precinct. Lee, is this precinct 1 or is this what we're doing for the county?
It's precinct 1.
Precinct 1. One of the things I'm finding is that this is an agreement where we can start getting hardwired internet. some of your places. You counted on satellite for so long, and man, I tell you what, even at the courthouse, when it goes down, we go down. And so we're gonna eventually come to you with a backup for here, but precinct one is, they never have good internet service over there, so I recommended that we go ahead and try to get them a hardwired service over there, for their internet services over there, so that's what this is.
I move that we, approve this.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and do some budget transfers real quick. It's that time of year, of course, as you know. First thing we're gonna have is from the auditor's office. They need a shredder for their office. Sometimes they get so much money up there, they can't have a place for it, so they like to shred it. They're actually wanting to move $1,060 to buy a shredder. What's the pleasure on that, Jim?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve that purchase, or that budget transfer in order to make that purchase. We've got another budget transfer, and this is going to come out of the county extension office. County extension office is asking that we move around $250 in order for them to be able to go to some conferences, expenses, things of that nature. So what's your pleasure on that? We have a motion from Commissioner Ford, second by Commissioner Sadler, to approve that. Any other discussion on it, say aye. Let me, just for the audience's sake, and make sure you understand, budget transfers only means we've already budgeted that money. We're just moving it around to make it fit in different line items. So the next one is from my office, the county judge's office. One of the things, as y'all know, Carmen is going to be leaving, and we were able to come up with some money to pay to train Renee in that position this month. So we need to transfer this money this month around. So I'm asking you to motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. All right, let's go down to the county road and bridge department. They're asking for looks like they're asking for a total of $20,000 new dollars. It's coming out of contingencies. It's going to be repair and maintenance of equipment. Jerry, do you want to talk about this at all?
This, we had so many major repairs this year, plus parts, stuff is gone out the road. And we're basically out like $13-12
We should have money to contingency month and a half. I move we approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let's go on down to item number 24, and that's going to be a budget transfer from the sheriff's office. This right here, they're asking for basically, let's see, $5,200 thereabouts. And it's for the county, cover the hiring expense from the non-food. Murray, tell us what this is all about.
I believe that is for the jail judge. Every time we hire somebody, right now we still have 10 openings. But as we hire people, we have to send them for drug testing. We have to send them for psychological evaluations. We have to sign them up to take the online classes in order to get the license. And we were just liking that line, so we're just moving some of the money from another line into that item to cover for the few we're trying to hire right now. Until we start the new budget.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board to move this money around? So move, we have it. So we have a motion by Commissioner Sadler and a second by Commissioner Friday. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item number 25 is we're going to go to an executive session to discuss personnel matter. And this is done in pursuant to the Texas Open Meeting Laws, Chapter 55107-4. So at this time, it is 9:45. I'm going to ask y'all to please excuse us while we go into an executive session. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to sign everything.
Yes.
Everything sounds good. Just,